So I started as a painting and drawing major, graduated as a BFA.
Where at?
Ohio State University.
Where you felt like a
piece of shit.
And a number.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going for number, but fair.
I mean, okay. To clarify that statement for too, is Ohio State is a fine institution, as Dennis would say. Really love the teachers, especially in the painting drawing program. They're fantastic. I had Theodorus West. I had Larry Shinneman. They were fantastic, fantastic teachers. The problem got to be, though, is the entire program prepares you to be an artist, but it never really prepared you, other than passingly, for what life is like when you're out. So here's your skills, but how do you become a business? How do you go to galleries? How do you network with people? Was never really covered. And then we hit graduation. And we had the largest class ever of BFA grads of 85 students. This was 2011. And I'm sure everyone's aware of the Horseshoe and like the massive Ohio State football stadium. That's where we had our graduation because we had 12,000 graduating seniors that year. And 85 of them were BFA grads. And at that moment, as I'm sitting there at that pivotal moment of my life, I'm like, wow, I really am just a speck. Nothing I do matters. And not just this institution, my mind was going from like every other school having their graduation days on the same day, and I'm leaving and entering this workforce with all these other people. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm doing abstract paintings at the time, and they're cool. But as I quickly found out, no one in the gallery setting in Columbus wanted them, and which is a tough pill to swallow. And you're spending $500 a painting just to make the damn thing. That's just materials alone. Because you gotta get the board, you gotta get the paints, you gotta paint it, you have to have the space ready to do that. And then your man hours alone trying to make those abstracts was about a solid week or two. So that's 80 man hours into that on top of the materials. Mm-hmm. And then you figure you might sell it as a student painter for like $100.
So you graduated from OSU and you felt like a speck.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, got lost for 2 years. Then I went to Lorain County Community College and I was just taking classes in coding for web design because I figured out, well, that's marketable. And then, fateful day, I took, back step. I was taking the computer game and simulation design program there because I figured I'd follow my true quote-unquote passion and go into game design, learn the coding, be a concept artist is what I really wanted to be. Like an illustration concept artist for like Final Fantasy as like a dream job. Then I took graphic design 1 with Dennis Ryan. And as I'm sitting there...
Many mistakes were made.
Yeah, as I'm sitting there, many mistakes were made. And I realized, as I'm sitting there during a critique, that of all the teachers that I had, this is the one that truly gives a shit about his students. Like, okay, I'm going to take this class seriously. This looks like fun. I want to know about poster design and graphic design because I had no idea about graphic design before that point. I was in typography. I didn't really like digital illustration or digital because I really wanted to be. Like I tried Photoshop, but it just wasn't for me. And then I took to a duck to water to Adobe Illustrator. Like I wish I had worked on that 5 years earlier, and maybe an entire life course would have changed. I don't know, but you never know. So that's the pivotal moment of like, oh, he matters. he makes me feel like I matter. And like this is like really cool stuff because it's not that's the key thing about graphic design or design in general is I didn't have to throw away any of the years of experience that I got at OSU. The networking ability, the friends I earned, the actual classes I took, whether it's the business classes or the web design classes or the painting drawing or the illustration ones or the art and tech robot ones. I mean, all those things just became a new framework of Joe underneath the graphic design column. And all those talents and skills I spent so many hours on now feed me as an artist, a designer. And it informs me on how I work with people, communicate with other designers and clients. And it also very much flavors my work into a very specific style of Joe. I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's the wonderful, truly, truly wonderful thing about like graphic design. And I think I lost the plot. What was the key point on that other than like graphic design is great because it takes all those things? Or...
Okay, so far, Joe has graduated OSU with his BFA, where he felt like a speck.
Yes.
Then he traveled all the way up to Lorain County Community College, where he then took a class with Dennis Ryan.
Right, Graphic 1.
Where his mind was blown.
Boosh. Right. All right. What's the end point I'm trying to get to again? Just where we are now?
Well, then you met me.
Oh, God. That actually comes a little bit later. Because I get through Graphic 2, Graphic 3.
You start your business.
Yeah, I start my business for the entrepreneurial competitions there. I had a really great internship during Graphic 3. Oh, God, this story's going to get sad. Sorry. Well, Graphic 3 for Kuno Creative, which is a really fabulous group. That's like a real internship if there ever was one. They actually challenged me. They taught me a lot. And then as I'm getting through that summer, I hit the very end and I had picked up a couple classes for an LC just because I knew I wanted to go to grad school at that point. And I was working on my portfolio and I wanted to work on my portfolio so I could be fully fledged to go to grad school or find like a really nice position at a real graphic design agency. So it's kind of like my victory lap at LCCC. Well, first day of class, I wake up and my dad died. And shock to the system that was. Basically woke up to the ambulance lights at 7 in the morning on my ceiling, and by 10 a.m. he was gone. And 10:30 I was in class trying not to cry and getting calls from family. And that semester really kept me together because I had 3D sculpture, 2. And it was a hard class and had some design projects together. So I was able to kind of workaholic my way through the worst of it. And kind of the suction of depression there and make sure I stayed afloat. And got through that, got my feet under me again, and then managed to score another position with where I'm working now, TechNet. And that allowed me to, because my mom moved back to California and I stayed here in Ohio because I wanted to finish out my time here. I was taking a couple other classes on the spring semester. And I had kind of an arc, a plan at that point, but I was still trying to figure out who or what I wanted to be at that point again, because, you kind of lose sight of like any kind of future planning in the wake of that kind of event. Unexpected event. And let's see. Was that when we started Unity, or was that the year after? I think that was the year after.
It was the year after.
Yeah.
Because I knew you. I first met you in digital illustration.
Right.
When you were working on stuff for Fluff and Crunch.
Okay, so that's when I did the summer camp for a bunch of art kids. So I was fulfilling my teaching, the itch to teach. Still working, and then got a nice position with. Actually, no, I didn't have a TechNet yet. I apologize. So the summer position helped feed me for the summer. Be able to stand on my own, live in my own house. That was pretty great. Then the summer, I had a pretty crappy internship with a group who hired a graphic designer and basically just wanted someone to give tutorials online for their program for people, and I ended up doing that until they fired me. It's like, oh, well, we don't need you anymore. I'm like, okay, great. I'm so sad because you're not actually letting me do the job I was hired to do, and you're excited to have me do. Whatever. Then I picked up the AutoTechNet job. I think I was just taking an independent study at that time because I like to keep busy with my continuing education. Oh, right. Okay. So this was take 2 on grad school. That's what happened. So didn't do the first year because shocked the system. This was take 2, trying to get that escape velocity, and didn't get accepted anywhere I applied to. Because I still wasn't, I think the portfolio was good enough, or could have been good enough, but I wasn't sure enough about who I was to be able to be like, this is my vision, this is what we're doing. And that includes CCAD, where I'm at now. So then I meet Hannah. I think I actually met you that fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then now we're in spring. Mm-hmm. And it's Hannah's Graphic 3.
Good times.
Oh, God. Hannah had her own...
that was fresh
trouble.
Hell. That was fresh hell.
So do you want to segue into that real briefly, or do you want to just say
Sure.
No?
So how it works with Graphic 1, 2, and 3. Graphic 1 starts with about 25, 30 kids. It's a healthy class. Graphic 2 is there's all the people that just jump ship, and we're down to say 15. Mm-hmm. Graphic 3 hits, and it's just the people that think they're serious about it, or they're just got some extra time in their schedule. They're like, this could be fun.
Or they actually are serious about it.
Right. So I had, 2, 4, 5, 6.
7.
7, yeah, 7 people in the whole class.
Yeah.
Of which, I won't say how many per se, but the vast majority of this class did nothing.
Right. Well, to put a finer point on that, I had to be brought in on their final project along with another outsider just to get the project across the finish line.
Because...
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Because I'll segue back to you. Is just to interject there, because we'll get there, but go ahead.
Yes. So the majority of this class is individual projects, quantitatively, out of the number of projects. However, the majority of the work you're doing is in groups. So when the vast majority of one's class, of a whopping number of 7, doesn't do much, one starts to worry about their group projects.
Right.
So first group project or 2, it was fine. Pull the work, be the workhorse, delegate what you can to the people you can. But then the make a design agency project comes along. Every year, the final project is different.
Right.
They've done rebranding the soup kitchen. They've done some different branding events. This year, Dennis Ryan chooses, you know what? You guys are a good group of kids. You're some of my favorite kids. He says that to every year of kids.
Yes.
But you know what? We're going to see if we can make a design agency.
And I apologize because I think I put that seed in his ear.
It worked out in the end. It's just...
I mean, yeah, because I came in with Kayla, and then we talked to Dennis about, like, we kind of want to start our own studio kind of deal. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. How about we do this? And that kicked it off. All right. So for Graphic 3, you start with your personal branding. Then you have your midterm project, which is its own fair hell. Because you have to do a set of 5 objects ready to go in its own shipping style. So it's a set of 5 in a package that's ready to be put in the store shelves with a point of sale display and a costing sheet for how long it took you to make that thing and the materials. And it has to be depending on how involved you get in, because you see people that kind of cruise by duct taping together a DVD cover set.
Yeah.
And then you have other people who make their own custom boxes or make their own lipstick and a custom box and the little seating inside of it. Not naming names. Hannah.
It was full-assing it.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair...
You full-ass those projects.
Well, also, that was a little later in the semester, because what I was about to go into was when Unity Lab was first introduced to me, I was like, all right, this is fine. I can knock this out because I'm not planning on being here this next year. Because I was in my second year at LC, which meant I was ready to transfer. I had done my credits. I was taking 15 a semester, ready to move on, get my papers elsewhere. I was looking at Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design at the time. Okay, this is a good one to knock out on. Doing my midterm at the time, letting people do whatever they need to do for the group thing, because it was just floated. And then February rolls around and I'm in a car accident. So now I'm down to one working wing and still doing design work. And then they come into the heavy work of Unity and making it happen. And I was like, I don't know if I could lead this project. Joe looks up at me from the front. Dennis is staring at me like, can you lead this part of it? I'm giving the no already across from the room. So 2 other people from the class were selected to lead. And really neither of those people ended up leading to the point that they really needed to get a full agency off the ground.
Right. There was many problems with that.
However, with the about 5 of us that worked on this project, really, 3 of us in the class, and then Joe and Corey Kova from outside the class.
Right.
We ended up scrounging this thing together with a full business plan, plans of how we could build a space, what we were going to charge, all the taxing information that we need, the full kit and caboodle.
Right. Now, I will give Dennis credit because the only way this was possible was the way he taught us. And between those of us who had full-assed it, we knew what we had to do and expected to do to deliver this thing across the finish line. And then more on top. So we realized, we saw the iceberg on that horizon, and it was already a mountain. So we realized what more must be underneath the water that we're just driving straight at.
Yep. So Unity Lab started eventually that summer. We were working out of a spare classroom for a very long time, trying to build up clientele.
Right.
Figuring out the bureaucracy. Joe and I were finally comrades through commisery.
Yeah, because at that point we're still kind of we respected each other, but it wasn't this full-on business partner-esque.
Right. It took us doing the business plan for Unity for us to really get it.
Because at that point we saw each other I'm sure Hannah was like, I'm still better than you, but like equals of some aspect of like,
You always assume that I think I'm better than everyone, which is not the case.
well, I just think you're better than me in a lot of aspects too.
Well, thank you.
Like, you do some kick-ass designs. I'm like, oh god. So,
So that business plan.
right, that business plan was atrocious on the first draft, to the point where
We couldn't get through the first sentence.
I'm just sitting there doing my own thing, and I hear this like, Joe. And I look around, and I see Hannah, and she's like holding her head, I guess with one hand,
Yes.
and you're just like waving me over, like, come look at this. And I go over like, this business plan is really bad. Like, how bad can it be? I can't get through the first paragraph. I'm like, okay, it can't be that bad.
Which, to be fair, everyone at this point while working on the Unity project was pretty much fried.
Right.
Because this was like towards the end, we were almost presenting this to the board.
Right. This is like 2 or 3 weeks before
Yeah.
meeting with the president. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sit down. I guess I had my own laptop or something.
Yeah, you brought over your laptop and sat at the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I open it up. You link me the document, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it, and then I'm looking at it.
And I think at some point I looked over at you and noticed where you were because it had the cursor thing because it's Google Docs.
Right.
I was like, Joe, you just got to skip past that first sentence. And you're like, I can't.
It is so bad. I wish I had the copy of that so I could, like, read it.
Yeah.
But I do not. But it was so bad. And I'm sitting here with, like, a whole library next to me, and I read a lot online and otherwise. This was the worst written thing I have ever seen in front of my eyes. It was like, there's a lot of, like, rubbernecking is that term for when you're just, like, driving by and you have to look at that grisly-ass accident. This was like that, only with text. It was so bad, I could not rip myself away from how bad it was.
I don't think we even really, like, finished reading the whole business plan because we just were like, we just got to rewrite the whole thing.
Well, I think I read it all, to be fair. Because after the first paragraph, it actually was, like, decently written, to the point, like, I would understand.
You could understand. It still wasn't well written.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of qualifiers and context for everything I say. I get it.
Yeah.
But I can at least get through a sentence without wanting to die. So, the first paragraph, though, was just like, it was a black hole of sanity, and it was slurping it out of me, because I was like, this is due in 2 weeks. And this is what we got? And we've had 2 months to work on this. What the hell? Oh my god, man. It's not okay. It's not okay. And then, of course, I was saying this stuff out loud. And finally, Hannah was like, Joe!
There are other people in this room
who actually built it. And she's right there. Not that loud or that, like,
that one
pointing and gesturing going on. Like, oh shit. And then comments like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Texting it out in the Google comments.
Like, we're in shit now, aren't we? Like, I'll rewrite this if you design it. I don't know how we decided to figure that one out. I think I wrote it.
We split sections.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I took, like, finances and budget. And
yeah, because all the finances had to be redone, too.
Right, and I had enough experience with that from previous entrepreneurship projects because no one in those groups wanted to do that either. I'm like, well, I guess someone has to do it. So I put the numbers together, made them look feasible. And they were. And shockers are shockers of what we estimated was about what the first year budget was.
Right.
So,
School didn't believe the first year budget at first, but...
Yeah. Well, they found out. So yeah, And then in the circumstances of the sprinting ahead aspect, yeah, during summer we just all started meeting in a spare room because we knew if we waited, like they'd either forget about it, or it'd just be like this little like school defined, like this is your playpen, this is what you get. So we knew we had to like establish everything right out the gate. Because the president was all on board with it, our teachers were all on board with it, the deans were all on board with it, the provosts were all on board with it, and we're like, okay, this is the moment to just kind of like go.
Mm-hmm. And within working in that summer, I threw the Halloween gallery at you pretty early.
Yeah. So there's a Halloween gallery. We also had our nightmare client right out the gate.
Yeah.
And that's not a discussion that will happen in any detail. Because
it's not worth it. No one needs to hear about that.
No one needs to hear the grief and woe. Whoop, 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 whoop.
No one wants to listen to that stuff. Yeah. But that Halloween gallery.
Yeah, Halloween gallery is great.
Yeah.
Well, for some of us.
Yeah. Some really good work came out of it.
Yes. Some really lazy work came out of it.
But, people know who they are and know how long they took on it.
Right.
And, first Unity event.
Yeah, and it was fun because we got to figure out the bureaucracy of it. We got to make some cool trades. So we traded some design work for food with the conferencing and dining group. We got to figure out how to order a pin board so we would hang our work up on. We figured out how to light it. We went and got the supplies. Dennis was nice enough to actually finish the electrical cord, the lights we hung up. And we would need to learn how to do that, but he has 5,000 years of experience doing that kind of stuff. And cavemen were around kind of stuff, as he always jokes. And we had a good night. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's now an annual event.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So check it out next year at Lorain County Community College for their next Halloween festival. I really enjoyed my project on that one. I made a comic series kind of in the vein of Calvin and Hobbes inspired, but using my own original characters to kind of tell the story of how they met, grew up with video games, and then how they ended up together and sharing their lives by the end of it. So it was a fun little series.
Yep. I did vampire inspired.
Yeah. Less meaningful and just blah, I want to suck your blood. And this is a cool image, isn't it? Look at it.
Oh, yeah. And some cool work came out of it. It was back in my dark phase of design, though.
Yeah.
So,
dark, before the light started creeping into it that fall.
Yeah. And my style was drastically changing at that point.
Oh, yeah. Whether or not I had anything to do with it, or Unity that had anything to do with it.
I think it was the getting out.
Yeah.
Because we were just starting to think about I actually have to transfer somewhere, and I don't think I'm going out to Rocky Mountain. So, Joe, where should I go?
Which, that's a nice segue that I was going to get to right there, too. It's I tried to apply to CCAD, and I visited the campus last year, and it was pretty bombing. You wanted to see if I can set up a tour for us and go down there as Unity and kind of check it out? Sure. We can go and visit. John Caron gives us the tour of the facilities, doing his usual backward walk. And me and Hannah are drooling by the end of it. Oh, this work, it's fantastic. Oh my God. It's close. Let's try this one. Mm-hmm. And Hannah applied to the Ad Graphic program.
Yep.
And I was going to initially reapply for the MFA program, trying again for my own kind of studio. John had encouraged me to apply, but he also dropped a tasty little tidbit of hey, we're starting our new MDes program, first year ever. Would you like to apply for that? And I'm hell yeah. Let's do it. Now, we ran a little bit ahead of this, but before this tour, me and Hannah realized we had to full ass this tour. So we spent an entire week of not sleeping creating a lookbook of our combined work and our inspirations and things we wanted to do as a cohesive team.
And we called it Foxen.
And we called it Foxen. This is the origin of Foxen.
Yeah, because we made a comic that we started going, and it was going to be about like this chicken
named Gertrude
that was like believed she was the queen of everything.
Yes. Well,
And she was abandoned from her mother, her anthropomorphized chicken mother.
Yes.
Because she was turquoise.
Yes.
And Victoria, a fox, an outcast from society, took in Gertrude.
Yes.
And since then, it's been how to rule the world and for Victoria, revenge for her family.
Right. Exactly. Now, Victoria also has a whole gaggle of like orphan foxes too, so it's like totally adorable. Lots of foxes, lots of revenge, lots of blood and gore. Probably we'll get there, but fantastic. It'll be great.
And since then, the name has stuck, even though we're not doing the webcomic.
For the moment.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah. Whenever we have the time to do passion projects again.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll get there. But it'll be a pretty bomb-ass comic, because we'll be even better than we were.
Oh, yeah, that children's book we did in that style for Victoria was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Look for that on our portfolio page.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'll probably be up by then.
Yeah, it should be up by the time we post this.
Yeah.
Unless you post them at the same time, just click.
I mean, maybe. Maybe I'll post it tonight. Who knows?
Wow, you better edit some of this.
I don't think I'm going to edit any of it.
It's like 2 podcasts worth.
I don't feel like chopping it up now. That's work. And we haven't had enough pauses to be like.
Oh, I just mean like we have the origin story now. I guess. So anyway, we got on this tour.
Yeah. So we go on the tour.
It's amazing. We're like, oh my god, this is where we have to be.
Yeah.
We have to apply right now. And this is after we made our booklet of No Sleep.
Right. And we handed that off to John. He's like, oh, this is pretty cool.
And then we're like, so when's the application deadline?
Hell, this was December 8th was the tour. The application deadline is February 1st for the BFAs that year. For me, it was March 1st, but, I have like a whole portfolio to assemble now for an MDes. And talk about like throwing your energy to the universe, because we didn't apply anywhere else because we figured it's CCAD or we do our own business.
Right.
Which now it's both. Because we're just that crazy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we both made completely new portfolios for this because we're like, none of the work we've done thus far
is good enough based on what I'm seeing on the walls.
Yes. Talk about full-assing a portfolio. Taking a month to just be like, you know what? I'm going to make like 12 new pieces. Not just pieces, but like 12 new campaigns.
Right.
And then you're over there making like a bajillion multi-page documents.
Right. I was doing the whole Unity retrospective, like the success rate of the first year, what we've actually accomplished, how we got there. It was like a 30-page document just for the explicit purpose of like adding infographics and like showing like success what was learned, what the cohort as a group did, what was our favorite project, some of our difficult projects, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then also did that for a couple of my other pet projects, and I had a couple of branding guides I did for my work for Unity, and also for my still part-time job, Ohio TechNet. And that all kind of cycled into a 10-piece portfolio that was all multi-page documents that were no less than 20 pages. And I had to comb through them all, make sure there's no spelling errors, clean them up, make sure they look prettier than even I thought I could do. And oh my god. And it was not a very sleepful month.
But then it was turned in.
And then it was.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then we waited anxiously forever.
Yeah, I don't think we got our acceptance letter until like late April.
Yeah, it was redonkulously late.
I figured we were in because we got because I was starting to get emails at that point like, hey, you should check out these events in Columbus. And then this was right before Art Festival, actually, yeah, okay, so that's the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So this was right before the Art Festival, which was May 20th, if I remember correctly.
My brother's birthday, yes, May 20th.
Mm-hmm. And I was interviewing a couple of students for Unity 2.
Good times interviewing.
Yeah, so interviewing, also working on the festival, and also, like, we were kind of short-handed at the time because people were figuring out, like, design wasn't for them, and they were leaving to their other jobs and kind of just fading away. And I was in the process of preparing interviews for them or giving them information, and then I get a phone call from John, like, hey, I hope you're sitting down. He actually said this. Well, I will be in a second. You'll be getting a letter later, but I just wanted to personally call you and say congratulations. You are in the first year cohort for CCAD's first FS program. Like, I figured, but yes. And then I was dancing everywhere. Big fool, because I was dancing in front of it was Ed, Bobby, and Joe.
Yeah.
I was all dancing in front of, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was wondering what happened. And I don't think you hadn't received your letter yet by that point.
No.
But I figured
it was like a few days later I got mine, yeah.
And I figured if I'm in, you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Alex got
in before me, yes.
Yeah, she got in before both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I think Becca was the last.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. Got my little confetti envelope from CCAD.
Yeah, I didn't get anything that fancy. That was my one sadness. It wasn't like a really party kind of letter. It was just like, congratulations. Fair enough.
Good for you! Gold star!
But I had John personally call me, and that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so now we're there.
Yeah.
And doing our own thing, because we're just going to do our own business while we're doing this.
Right, which is rare, apparently. A lot of people just kind of want to go straight into a studio, maybe climb to the top, but otherwise they just kind of want to just go and do.
Yeah.
But we want to go and do and be our own bosses, especially from our experiences doing freelance.
Yeah, we like to work directly with our clients.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing better than being face to face with the person you're doing work with. So.
Right. And that was the thing that really kind of got to me when I'm doing the kind of agency experience, and even with corporate experiences. You don't actually get to design as a designer in those circumstances until you're at the senior level. You're given a project, here's your parameters, and then have it by next week. It's really the creative director, and even maybe not even the creative director, but the sales team talking to a client, promising them the moon. And then the creative director looks at the screen and is like, okay, we can't do this, but we'll do this. And then they'll go through and here's what you get. Which is fine. That's a perfectly acceptable way of doing it. But me and Hannah, we like to be like that whole conversation earlier about what really makes us tick, making that difference with people, seeing that spark and having that engagement is really what makes us us. And we know that's what we want to be doing. And sure, maybe it's folly for us to continue pursuing degrees at that point, but it still feels right where we're making those differences and learning those connections and meeting people still. And that, I mean, it's cool. It is really cool. Is that a good place to stop for tonight?
I feel like that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
our origin story.
Yeah,
and,
like, congratulations, YouTube, wherever else we post our podcasts.
Who knows? We'll just put it everywhere.
Yeah, we'll throw it all over the place. But thank you for listening and being patient with our rambling. It is our first ever podcast for Fox 10.
Check us out. We'll link in, where
Yeah.
our website is, because that's long enough that I don't want to
Comment
spell
and
it.
subscribe.
Yes.
And if you hate it, give us a thumbs down. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. And then feel free to comment because, we thrive on critique.
Yes. You're like, your voice is really annoying.
Yeah,
Stop
I know.
that.
I had a whole discussion previous to this podcast. Wow, my voice is really bad. So, if you agree that my voice sucks, then I will try and find a way to talk that does not suck.
Yes.
So.
We'll start talking in accents all the time.
Yes.
But really, follow us on, social media. Come talk to us. We're pretty chill. We'll actually respond to your messages on Facebook and Instagram. All that jazz.
Yeah.
Fox 10 Creatives.
If you're a young designer and you don't know what you're doing, drop us a line and we'll talk to you for hours.
Ew.
Maybe even do a cool collaboration project with you.
Yes. Portfolio reviews. We love that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Give us your portfolios to look at.
Until we have millions of viewers and we can't handle the tsunami of portfolios.
Which at that point we'll have a whole podcast of no, please stop. Too many.
We'll have the Fox 10 army and then you guys can do some sweet critiques as a group. And then we can take a look at and contribute to those conversations too. But let's get there first.
Yeah, let's start with anyone who has a portfolio that wants looked at.
Yeah.
Drop us a line.
Yeah, we always have time for people in need. That's it.
We love full assers.
Yeah. If you are a quarter asser or a no asser, then
you may need to step up your game.
Yeah. A no asser in particular, we don't have the time of day for you. A quarter asser, I can still see the potential in you to be a full asser.
Yes.
And I'll do everything I can to make you a full asser. But you gotta try. You gotta take that that life raft and then okay, I want to be a full asser. Full assers in the house.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Joe.
This is Hannah.
Full assing it out of here. Thank you so much.